Hi, Claudio and Emilio. As mentioned, I thought I'd record a video and show you the kind of stuff that we've built. So what you're seeing on the screen now is my computer. I'm just going to take you through some of the sites that we've built, a couple actually, which fit with what you guys need from what I saw yesterday. I'll upload this in a minute after it's recorded and edited, and then you'll be able to watch and pause and see as many times as you want. Now, the first one I'm going to show you is actually the product that I mentioned on Skype yesterday. This is the thing that we built ourselves, and this is owned by myself and my business partner. So our IT company builds projects for other people, but we also build internally. So in Sri Lanka, we launched a website called foodie.lk, which is basically a restaurant directory for Sri Lanka. So we list all of the restaurants in Sri Lanka, and the ones that sign contracts with us, we actually do delivery for them as well. So these are the ones that we have listed on the system and they've signed contracts, and you can see they're open now and whether they're available for delivery. It's currently morning, so a lot of these will turn on for delivery at lunchtime, and that's all live, hooked up, all that kind of stuff. Each restaurant has their own page, which has their basic info as well as their menu. And this is all controlled by the restaurant, so they have a back end, which I'll show you in a minute. And they can log in and they can change, for example, their contact details, website, all this kind of stuff. They can control their menu, so they have control over the prices, the dishes that are available, all this kind of stuff, whenever they want. And the menu system is very advanced because you can set options on many of the items. So for example, you find one that has options. And you can see it's live updating automatically, it's really quick. I need to find one that has some options on it, like this one, for example. You can also set whatever custom sizes. These can have different prices if you want. You can set if it's chicken or beef on certain dishes, things like that. So this is all live calculating, and if there was a price difference, it would change here before it adds to the cart. You can increase and decrease. You can see the cart's very easy to use. Customers can choose between delivery, takeaway, and so on. And then going through the steps, they have to key in all their info. They get a summary. And if I press confirm, it goes through and it goes into the system. And what happens now is this order will then generate SMS alerts to the restaurant, it generates SMS alerts to us, and it goes into the restaurant's backend and to our backend where we actually manage the orders, because we actually have bikes that are going and picking up the food from these restaurants and delivering to the customer. So we track that with a system that we built that looks like this. So this is actually live at the moment. This is our backend. So we would build something like this for you guys, custom to your requirements from what we saw yesterday. But what we do is we track the orders that are currently live and send bikes to get them. So for example, all these red dots, these are the restaurants that have signed up with us and that are giving us deliveries to deliver and where we take orders from. These are actually live orders. They're real orders right now. You can see it's live updating since how long it's taken. And these numbered dots here are actually the bikes. So you can actually watch the bikes in real time because they're carrying Android GPS tracking apps, which allow us to see where the rider is. We can allocate which rider has which order. We can send them to a particular spot. So I can click on this guy and I can send him here, for example, and send him a note and he'll get that. We can search Google Maps for particular addresses. Like for example, if I click on that, it'll actually focus on where the customer is. Internet's a map where they are, if it pins. If the address is wrong, like here there's no number of the street, for example, then we have to call and find out. That's why I didn't pin correctly, which is part of the difficulty of this model. But you can see it's all live. This is how we manage. And all of this was built from scratch. So none of this existed before as any framework. It's all from scratch. We also have our own order tracking overall mechanics. So these are the current live orders. You can see in the month already, this is how much revenue we've done. We can see all of our past orders very easily. So that stuff that you mentioned about searching through your customer CRM and your invoice database and all, we actually have already built all of that, and it's all very quick, live, and from the cloud. So this is all accessed through Chrome. Our entire company runs through the web essentially. And these are all the past orders. For example, you can see how long we take. We're usually very fast. You can filter by, for example, which rider had picked up the orders. So if I search for one of my rider's names, I can see all the orders that he's done today. And if I browse through, I can see all in history. And that works for anything. You can also search for the customer's details. You can search for the restaurant details. So if I want to see all the orders from a particular restaurant, you can just type it and it'll filter down, like so. And You can see the bills, what they ordered, all that kind of stuff on Hover. So all this is customizable. We can also see the origin point. So if you guys have multiple branches, you can see all the orders in one place, but you can see which branch they came from, for example. Here we take orders from the restaurant themselves. That's what backend means. But we also take orders from front end, which is foodie.lk, and we take orders from our partner things, and we take orders from our call center, which we also built the software for, which all ties together into this one unified platform. You mentioned also invoicing. We have invoicing as part of our core functionality as well. So for the restaurants, we accept the cash on their behalf, and then we, after 2 weeks, settle with them through bank transfers. So for example, Sandwich Factory is one of our main clients. This is all of their sales volume. So you can see they spiked recently. This is down because it's still the beginning of October. But you can see that our revenue is tracked live, and we can see in each month, for example, you can see they started low, and now they're doing a massive amount of volume with us. And if you click on a particular month, you will see the system generates the PDF automatically within, just like yours does. But this is done on the web, and this is stored. This is created only for this instance, and then you can download it if you want. So we don't keep persistent file size on the web to reduce the overall storage. So all that kind of stuff will optimize. So once this finishes loading, essentially you would see the PDF of all of the transactions for this particular month, how much we owe them in cash and how much we owe them in commissions. One sec, my net's a bit slow. And yeah, so basically invoices get generated and you can download them if the internet's fast. I'm currently at home actually, so it's quiet. Oh no, I'll come back to it. But that's essentially how it works. Now what happens when the orders go in? This is what we build for the restaurants. So the restaurants have their own login where they can log in and process the orders. So this is Sandwich Factory, and these are those live orders that are being processed right now. So as orders come in, they come to this screen, and you can see the details, all that kind of stuff. It shows the items, the quantities, all that kind of stuff. They also have their own historical page. They can control all of the data that is shown on the front end, so they can change all this stuff. They can control their menu from here, create categories, create items, set all kinds of stuff. They can show something on the menu but disable it for delivery. For example, desserts. Most don't deliver desserts because it'll melt. They can also change all kinds of settings. For example, their operating hours, minimum order quantities, which delivery locations within Colombo. So all this stuff is customizable for the restaurants and allows us to manage everything automatically with almost no communication with the restaurants, which is accomplishment because it's very difficult to do all these logistics tasks without too many calls. But essentially for all these orders, we don't have to call, which cuts out a ton of stuff. So this entire system is very, very advanced. It's very custom built for the restaurant industry. There's other modules, for example, we can see all the restaurants, we can see all the users, riders, all that kind of stuff. So all this stuff we can build for you guys in whatever way fits, custom. So that's a quick example of what we built for ourselves. I'll show you what we built for other people as well. Now, while we were building all of this with our tiny team, we also built a real estate engine for an outside contract company. But for them, they didn't really need the listing part. Like the front-end website is fairly basic. They have listings for properties within Colombo, and you can see all the stuff. You can filter by whatever. We built all of this for them. This is just the first very, very basic MVP pass, the minimum viable product, for them to build their main systems. But the core of what they paid us for is actually their backend. So how do they manage all of these properties, and how do they control which agents are getting commissions on which properties, all that kind of stuff? They had no systems before talking to us, but we built an entire platform for them, which is this. So they have a backend similar to what we're going to build for you guys, where they can create properties in the system, which is what you're looking at now. They can edit properties just by clicking, and it'll go find, and you can change any of the data. You can see it's being used live. All of this was completely custom for whatever their requirements were. And the system's been working now for almost a year. And you can see it's active, it's functioning, and we keep iterating. So the way we build software is we come up with the minimum version that you need at the beginning, the core modules. And then with your monthly retainers, we allow continual development, which is the only way that it lasts. Because in web design and in app design, you can't build once and it lasts for 2 years, because in 3 months, there's going to be an update to the platform, there's going to be an update to browsers, there's going to be an update to Android or iOS, which means you have to keep continually developing. So with this company in particular, Expat Key, Hammock is the main partner with them, their IT partner, and they pay us monthly to maintain the software and to build and continue to upgrade stuff. So they've put the front end on hold because for them, their back end is more important for now. So we're still iterating this back end. We're fixing stuff and adding features and adding bugs and all that kind of stuff. And it looks very rough at the moment, but that's because we haven't touched any of the design stuff. It's all been functionality. So right now this works. They're using this to, for example, put in all of the different features of properties, which can ultimately be used for automatically assessing the value of a property. That's all fairly advanced and custom for the industry. They can track their clients. They can track who their landlords are, for example, when they are owed. They can track vendors like carpenters and painters and so on if they're going to give them work. And they can also track individual cases of properties and which agent's handling them. I don't have access to all the properties, but they have it on their back end when they log in as a manager. And they can see, for example, index values. So we're building a Sri Lankan index of property values, which we will then use data science to improve the overall efficiency of quoting properties, so we can give them an actual comparable value of properties in future. So that's the kind of stuff we're partnering on. So you can see we've built actually a lot of the core functionality that you guys need. Here we have scheduling apps and all that kind of stuff built in. Again, looks rough because they didn't care about the design, they just want it to work. And I think maybe in December we're doing a design pass. So this is all very rough, but at a certain point we'll go through and we'll make everything much smoother. And also this was designed for a larger screen. I'm on a very small screen at the moment. But yeah, that's just an example. So you can see we're building fairly complex stuff and it's all custom. So we don't use any templates like Magento and Shopify and all. We build from scratch, which means we can change virtually anything with no problem. Our guys are very skilled engineers. And because of the way we build, we're extremely flexible on platform as well. And we build native. So for example, this was built native for web. No frameworks, nothing. Our mobile apps, like the ones that the writers are carrying here, this was all built native to Android. And our apps where customers order online, that's all built native to each platform, iOS and Android as well. So we have very skilled guys that build this kind of stuff. And if you were to get this in Europe, for example, it would cost hundreds of thousands of euros, which is what we're actually selling this for. This logistics platform we're actually selling to Subway, Burger King in Netherlands, for example. You can see a new order just came in. And then that's how we make money essentially. But for you guys would own the IP. So if we build a backend like this for you and you pay us for it, you control this IP and we will never use it for anyone else. We will build it so custom anyway that it won't be usable for anyone else. So that's the flexibility that you have with us. So if you work with us with developing this, you basically have to tell us what you want. We'll scope everything out. Tell us exactly the features you want. We can build all kinds of different stuff on the back end. We can organize the categories of however you want. We can change anything essentially. So looking at this, hopefully you get some ideas of what we're capable of. Now the way that we work is we use a planning tool called Trello, which is free. And essentially all you need to do is work with us. So we develop a list of all of the things that we need to build. So each one of these cards here represents a feature or a module or some kind of functionality. And we just work through it and we add as many as we can. And these will keep getting added as we're working. But essentially we prioritize what needs to be done and we move it to doing, from to do to doing. So let's say I start the team working on this particular task, it would move here. And when it's done, after approval from you guys, you will see it move to the done column, like so. So that's essentially how it moves. So there's a few other stages, like we'll put bugs here. We put it to, before pushing to the server, for example, we have a beta testing round if it's a big feature. Things like that I'll explain. But essentially the workflow is very organic because you will see from the beginning, all of the tasks will be on this side and nothing is done. And then bit by bit, they will all slowly move left to right. So you never have to ask me what the team is working on because you can see whatever is at the top here is what the team is working on. And you will see naturally stuff moves from left to right as the project is progressing. And you will also see that some things take longer than others. Some changes are very long. They take hundreds of man hours, for example. Some take only like a few minutes. So getting caught up on just the number of cards moving is important because maybe in a week you will see something massive move, and none of the small ones. So it's a really good way of managing the project. There's no need to have constant emails back and forth of how it's going. And while this is happening, by the way, we push everything live. So as soon as we start building, there will be a domain that you can go to, and you can log in and you can view the project progress as we're going. Now, it's important not to get frustrated when you don't see much visual stuff, because sometimes you won't see much changes on the browser side, but on the coding side, which is 90% of the work, you will see a lot of stuff being done on this side. So as long as there's gradual progress here, and it's called a burn, as long as there's a regular burn down of project build, then we'll hit our targets, and we don't keep rearranging stuff. Then we can be very accurate about how much time it's going to take. But you can see the way that we build things is not what most people are used to. They typically charge for a fixed set of features. We tend to keep it open, so we allow you to add more stuff here as you discover them. And we have no problem with an ongoing build thing, because that's how the software has to be built. You can't build it in phases. Meaning you can't build it in one magic project build and then you have, it works for 4 years. That just doesn't work anymore. So what we would do is we put everything here first, then we call it sprint. This is essentially version 1 or version 2, for example. And we group all of the essential things that have to be done, finish all of those, push to server, and then it's live. We test. If everything's okay, we continue. If not, they move back to the doing and we fix whatever is broken. And then we move to the next stack of stuff. So hopefully that's clear of how we work. It's a very, very organic, very simple way of working. And you can always come here and track, for example, the progress. You can see stuff is being worked on every day. You can see who's working on stuff, things like that. And obviously, I will teach you this in future as well. So that's a quick intro to what we have built. I've tried to keep the video short, so I may have jumped around a bit. And also how we build. So that's what and how we build. And if you have any other questions, I can show you more. Obviously, I can't give you access to this one, but I can give you more examples of how this all works if you want. But obviously, there's much more to it than what you see on the surface here. There's a lot of coding and functionality that goes into tying in, the apps and all that kind of stuff. So be creative. Think about all the nice to have features you want as well, because we like to build this stuff. It's fun for us. And think of whatever you can to make your customer experience better, how to engage your customers more. If you want to build apps for your customers as well, we can do that if it's worthwhile and if there's real ROI. So yeah, be flexible. We're completely flexible. We can build practically anything, and with limits, of course. And if it's too difficult or if it's going to take too much time, I won't commit to something unless we know we can finish it in time, and we go from there. So hopefully we can help you guys modernize, because yeah, seeing your app definitely needs to be updated, and we can pull you to the cloud. And by the way, our fees that I pitch you will include hosting as well, so you don't have to worry about the servers and all that kind of stuff. We'll manage all of that for you. And the monthly fees that you pay us, for example, will cover all of that. We'll cover your hosting, we'll cover your domain maintenance, we'll cover your front-end app, all that kind of stuff we'll build to be unified. Right, I hope that's okay and not too much to take, but obviously you can watch this again at any point. I'm going to pause and upload this, and